follow me on Twitter at Mr. Rogers99. I'm waking up early with you because we got plenty of breaking news to look at here on the show as we take you up until 9 o'clock Central Time, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. We'll start off with the breaking news that we have just gotten word about. John Fox has been fired. This is hardly surprising. He is no longer the Bears head coach, leading the Bears to a 14-34 record his last few years. And of course, John Fox becoming the Bears head coach back in January of 2015. It was a 4-year deal. Fox led the Bears to a 6-10 record in his first season. Only the second time in his career where he had double-digit losses. It only got worse that next season. Fox finished with a 3-13 record, tied for the worst record for the Bears since the NFL changed to a 16-game season. And then after a 1-3 start this year, Fox benched quarterback Mike Glennon in favor of rookie Mitchell Trubisky. That was in Week 5. The Bears finished the season with a 5-11 record. John Fox's overall record, as you see there, 14-34. That's the second lowest win percentage in franchise history. The Chicago Bears, a storied franchise, a fan base that is unbelievably large, travels well, and John Fox, we are just getting word here on the Cam Rogers Show, has been fired. He is gone, and now my understanding is the Chicago Bears are going to be looking for a quarterback guru, a QB whisperer, if you will, to help with the development of one Mitchell Trubisky, to kind of get him into that, shall we say, Carson Wentz type of mode and going into that second year and really developing. And so some names to watch out for. John DeFilippo of the Philadelphia Eagles, quarterbacks coach there, has done a fantastic job with Carson Wentz, so certainly a name to watch out for. Todd Haley, Steelers offensive coordinator, not the greatest name in my eyes, but obviously a name to monitor. Josh McDaniels, offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots. He's going to get tied to many vacancies out there in the NFL. So it is Black Monday across the NFL, that day after Week 17 concludes, which means we are going to hear a lot of hirings and firings and all this good stuff. So the breaking news right now, the Chicago Bears have fired John Fox after 3 years as the Bears head coach. Some more breaking news. The Detroit Lions have fired Jim Caldwell. He is out as the Lions HC, fired after 4 years with the team. Went 9-7 with the Lions this year, missed the playoffs. They had a scenario where they could get in, but they lost to the Cincinnati Bengals. They won it against the Green Bay Packers yesterday in a meaningless game. Caldwell posted actually the highest regular season winning percentage of any full-time Lions coach in the Super Bowl era. However, with just a 36-28 record, you know, it's obviously not the worst record in the world, but only 4 victories over teams that finished above 500, and he went 0-2 in the playoffs. Caldwell, dating back to his first season in 2014, led the Lions to an 11-5 record and a wild card appearance in his first season. So pretty good start. Then in 2015, the Lions started with 7 losses in their first 8 games, then rebounded to a 6-2 record in the second half of the season. General manager Bob Quinn replaced Martin Mayhew as general manager after the season. Bob Quinn replaced Mayhew as the general manager after that season. Caldwell remained. All right, so there was some confidence there in Caldwell after the 2015 campaign and that rebound there at the midway point of the season. Now in 2016, Lions stumbled into the playoffs, you may recall, with a 9-7 record. Lost their final 3 games of the regular season, including a Week 17 game at Ford Field against the Green Bay Packers. Remember that Sunday Night Football game that decided the NFC North? And then the Lions didn't score a touchdown in a wild card loss to the Seattle Seahawks. So we have a weigh-in for the folks at home as we are live here on Facebook. Should the Lions have fired Jim Caldwell? Throw in your thoughts about that. That is just one of the many breaking stories we are going to hear about today on Black Monday. And breaking news point number one, of course, John Fox has been fired. Breaking news point number two, Jim Caldwell has been fired. And of course, like I talked about, General Manager Bob Quinn will now search for that new head coach there in Detroit. Quinn worked for the New England Patriots, you may know, from 2009 to 2011 as an assistant director of pro personnel, later as a director of pro scouting from 2012 to 2015. So that's why I feel Josh McDaniels is going to be high up on the list. I think Matt Patricia will be high up on the board as well. McDaniels went 11-17 in his only previous stint as a head coach. You may remember back in Denver in 2010, coached a couple of seasons there and then went on to his coordinator days, and perhaps people are believing that McDaniels can get that promotion back to the head coaching position. I think the Lions would be very smart to interview one Matt Patricia. I think it would be a smart decision. The Lions can keep their offensive staff in place if that were to happen, right? If the Lions bring in a Patricia, a defensive mind, to help that Lions defense that was somewhat uninspiring this year. The front seven gave up a lot of yards on the ground. I think the secondary is solid with Darius Slay and Glover Quinn there manning things. In the back end, it's that front seven that needs a little more pass rush. It needs an ability to control the line of scrimmage against opposing offensive lines. That did not happen this year. And then on the other side of the ball, talking about the line of scrimmage here, the run game has been absent for the Detroit Lions what seems like years and years and years. Amir Abdullah, Theo Riddick, perhaps they have something with Tion Green here, a bruiser back. But at the end of the day, the Lions have been trying to bolster that offensive line, bringing in a TJ Lang and a Ricky Wagner on that right side there, trying to bolster that run game. But at the end of the day, they got to get a running back too. So hopefully the Lions can address that during the draft. But the breaking news, of course, if you're just tuning into the Cam Rogers Show, Jim Caldwell has been fired as the Detroit Lions head coach. And I made it at a special point to put in this B-roll here of the Lions and the Bengals, because this was a game that the Lions had to win. They were in the playoff hunt. The Bengals were already eliminated from playoff contention. Still found a way to lose this football game. It was a gross game, and in a half-empty Paul Brown Stadium, the Bengals found a way to be victorious in that one. And this game here, I think, was the last straw for Lions ownership. And my understanding is the Lions are going to go ahead and they're going to interview more defensive minds out there. Don't count out one Josh McDaniels, though, due to that Patriots kind of tie there with Bob Quinn. But I think Patricia is going to be the #1 guy in Detroit to be interviewed and perhaps become their new head coach. You can keep Jim Bob Cooter there on the offensive side as the offensive coordinator, right, who's been doing a fantastic job working with one Matt Stafford, a big reason why Matt Stafford got that fat contract. And so there's like that sense of stability on the offensive side, right? You don't have to move anything around with the head coaches or the coordinators there on that OC side and the offensive side. And the defensive side, you bring in Matt Patricia, where obviously a lot of improvements need to be made, right? They're talking about that front seven. They need to be able to control the line of scrimmage more, stop the run better. Once you stop that run, you can really let the secondary ball out. Glover Quinn, Darius Slay, etc. There are pieces back there that are obviously playmakers.